Samsung Galaxy Tab S10 Plus and Ultra are here. You can pre-order them now. We got links in the description if you want to go for that. But maybe you don't want to pre-order. Maybe you don't want to upgrade. I certainly don't want to. And there are a few reasons that I don't want to. Namely, they ditched the regular version of the tablet. So if you look back at the Tab S9, and if you follow my channel for any amount of time, you know that I like the smaller tablets. Tab S9, check. Tab S8 had that. Tab S7, Tab S6, all that good stuff. So we've had three options for the longest time, and now we're going with two, the Plus and the Ultra. So if you want the big gigantic tablet, of course you can get that, 14.6 inch, 12.4 inch still. But here's another thing. So not only did they eliminate the smaller tablet option for those of you like me who like it, they also got rid of the Snapdragon chip. And this is going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. And it's really interesting though, because not only did they ditch the Snapdragon, you would think, okay, if they're not using the Snapdragon, they would go with the Exynos chip, right? Because Samsung makes the Exynos chip. No, they didn't even go with the Exynos chip, so they couldn't even give their own chip a vote of confidence or give themselves a good deal, I guess. They went with the MediaTek, and I don't have anything bad to say about MediaTek. MediaTek, with their Dimensity chipsets, especially in the last few years, have done incredibly well. They've done great with power. They've made improvements with the neural core, neural processing. They've made improvements with their GPU, and they've got ray tracing. They've got all that cool stuff. So no real ding there, at least for me. And I attended MediaTek Summit the last couple of years. I got to see the latest and the greatest and the new stuff. I already tested out the OnePlus Pad 2. So with the Dimensity 9300 Plus, it actually has some significant gains. And let me read these for you real quick, just because I can't remember all this. So it's supposed to have an 18% increase in CPU power, a 28% increase in GPU power, and a 14% increase in neural processor unit power compared to the S9 Ultra series. So if you're familiar with the S9 series, you know they have the Snapdragon 8 Generation 2. I don't know why they couldn't go with the 8 Generation 3. And it's weird because this whole fly-by-night announcement of the tablets, it seems so haphazard. Normally, it's either in the spring or it's in the fall, and they pair it with their phones. Maybe they didn't want to overshadow the foldable phone event that we had a couple of months ago, or maybe they just wanted to have some like a product that's relevant in the market as the iPhones just came out a week ago. But it seems really weird that they would go ahead and launch like this, only launch two models, and then ditch Snapdragon, no Exynos, and go all in on the Dimensity. And again, the Dimensity chip I think is going to be very good, but here's the problem that I have, and it stems with Samsung, right? And we saw this most recently with the S22 Ultra, and it had the Exynos chipset in it, and there was a huge difference. Even though you look at the benchmarks, and you look at the cores, and you look at all the stuff, that Exynos chipset was supposed to be on par with the Snapdragon 8 Plus Generation 1 or 8 Generation 1, whatever it was, but they didn't optimize it properly. Like, it wasn't optimized the same way that the Snapdragon chip was. So the photos were not coming out good. It was having serious heat issues, and it was having a lot of other problems. And it was cool when we went to the S23 series, Snapdragon for everyone. But yeah, S22 Ultra was the last time we saw something like that. And they just didn't optimize it as well. I mean, maybe things are a little bit better now, but this is the first time with their chips, like their flagship tablets, they've had a MediaTek chipset. So it concerns me with how well it's actually going to be optimized and how different companies are going to optimize their apps for it, because it's not about hardware, it's about optimization. And they run into this issue as well with the Pixel phones, because sometimes you take a look at the Tensor G4, 3.15 gigahertz, fantastic chipset, but a lot of these developers, there's no incentive for them to optimize their games or their apps to run as well. So sometimes if you have an app that doesn't run as smooth, it might not necessarily even be that it's a hardware issue. It could be a software optimization issue. So there's that. I'm not saying there is one, but in the back of my mind, that's something that I think about. So you can get the S10 Plus tab for $999, and then it's $1199 for the Ultra. They start with 12 gigs of RAM. It goes up to 16 gigabytes of RAM if you get the higher end models. And then you've also got IP68. You've got the quad speaker setup. I know the Ultra has dual cameras. Let me double check. Yeah, they both. So you get dual cameras on the front and the back on the Ultra. The Plus just gets the two on the front, one on the rear. So you get kind of like it makes it better for presentations, makes it better for video conferencing and things like that. Both of them, they come with the S Pen, so that's nice. One thing I've always loved about the Samsung tablets is the S Pen. and then you get super long, 7 years of support, operating system updates, all those things. So Samsung, I mean, when you look at the Android tablet world, they've always been the best of the best of the best. And I think it's still probably going to be that way. But this is definitely not something, if I'm an S9 holder, I'm certainly not upgrading because, one, there's no regular S10. So there's no tablet version for me to upgrade to. I'm going to wait, see if they bring it back on the S11. But then it's hard for me to want to leave the comfort and familiarity and stability of this Snapdragon 8 Generation 2 that's so good in the Tab S9 for the Dimensity of the Tab S10. I mean, we'll see what happens, but yeah. Also, it's got the anti-reflective screen now, which is nice. People were pointing that out. I have an anti-reflective screen protector on mine, which is fine. You can buy one of those for like $10 on Amazon. Maybe a little bit more, don't quote me on that. But yeah, you've got the anti-reflective coating, which is basically very akin to what we got with the S24 Ultra series, which is nice. You can see that even my light in the background is very, very dull there. So let me find another phone. So this is my Motorola Razr, and you can see the light. So look how bright the light is on a normal non-anti-reflective screen. And now look at it on the anti-reflective screen. So yeah, that's something they're bringing as well. So that's a nice feature. You got up to 1.5 terabytes of external storage, so you can put an SD card in it, 45-watt charging, and the build quality should be fine. Like Samsung makes some really nice, thin, high-quality tablets, so I don't really have any concerns in that regard. Trade-in value seems to be okay if you have a Plus or an Ultra. I did look to see what it would actually give me if I decided to trade in my Tab S9 for a Tab S10 Ultra. Just, if I had like a departure from the norms of my normal mental stability, and $500 they were going to give me for this. I'm not trading in my Tab S9 for $500 to get an $1,199 tablet. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I have some concerns and thoughts about it. It seems a little odd, but that's what they did. It has Wi-Fi 7, 120 hertz refresh rate, Android 14, all that stuff out of the box. And then the Tab S10 Ultra weighs 718 grams, and the Tab S10 Plus weighs 571. So the Tab S10 Plus just over a gram, just over a pound, like 1.25, and the Tab S10 Ultra is almost 2 pounds. So it's even though it's big and it's light, it's still not the lightest tablet out there in the world. And I've aligned with the 11-inch tablets in my life. Even with my iPad Pro, the most recent one with the M4, I've got the 11-inch model. So I'm very happy in my life with 11-inch tablets. So it does irk me there is no model of that. But I don't know if I would upgrade it anyway. I'm perfectly happy with this one. Works out great. The Tab S9 is an excellent tablet, excellent companion to go with my Samsung devices. And I think it's a good part of the ecosphere. So if you've got a Tab S9, you're probably not going to be in the market to upgrade. If you got a Tab S8 series, maybe you could, but even like the 8 Ultra, there were some really good deals in the last year on the 8 Ultra. So if you got an 8 Ultra in the last year, hold on to that sucker too. It's probably not want to get rid of that. So if you got a Tab S7 or older, or maybe like just a regular Tab S7 Plus or something, and you want to get the bigger one, maybe. But I don't see this as being a S8 or an S9 upgrade. And I mean, should we look at it that way? I don't know. These things are so good now. Really kind of like a 3-year upgrade cycle is probably the norm in even the tablet world for most people who use that stuff nowadays, because the chips and the hardware are all so good and there's very minimal updates. So we'll see what we get there. If you're interested, like I said, I've got affiliate links. You can click on them in the description. You can go that route. If you want to buy one, I'm not going to discourage you from it, but yeah, it's just not, as a S9 holder, it's not too exciting for me. And then also they added more AI stuff too, so you got some AI stuff. But you've got AI stuff already, a lot of it on the Tab S9 series, because the Snapdragon 8 Generation 2 is still supported really well by Samsung. So I don't see this as something where you necessarily have to go out there and get it. I'm going to wait and see what happens if we get a Tab S10 next year, what that looks like, and then we'll go from there. But I just wanted to make y'all aware, the S10 Plus, S10 Ultra are here. You can get them. They're available for pre-order. If you just really want to move over to Samsung, it's going to be the latest and greatest. But also, I'd keep my eyes out for a Tab S9 Ultra. I mean, that might be a good deal here in the next couple of months, especially going into the holiday season. But that's just my 2 cents. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, gripes, complaints, of course, go to the comment section. We can hash it out. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.